Kia ora koutou. So this is the first of a series of 5 videos that I want to do about incorporating, embedding Mātauranga Māori into your English classroom. I promise I'll keep them short. Stay tuned. Righto, first of all, who am I to talk about this? I am an English teacher, but ko Pākehā, I am Pākehā. However, I am very excited about embedding Mātauranga Māori in our English classrooms and thinking about ways that we can do this in a manageable way, sustainable way, as a lot of us have to learn how to go about this, right? So, as many of you know, I sat down and thought about 20 key concepts in tikanga, in te ao Māori. So it's basically tikanga, you know, that way of doing things, the core values in te ao Māori, the Māori world. And then what I love doing from there is thinking about how these things relate to situations in text, to characters in text, to the way settings and characters interact, everything. There's so much you can do with it. And the really exciting thing is that it blows your mind because you think, oh, that's why that happened. That's why he's not getting it. That's why she's really struggling with that relationship. Oh, because they're not first grounded with their tūranga waiwai and so on. And once you go down that track, it will blow your mind and you'll see text in a whole new light. As I say, I'm talking from my Pākehā perspective. Anyway, so I'm going to look at 5 texts today, just very briefly to show you the kinds of thinking that you can do. So we'll start with the good old Lord of the Flies, the one that I first thought, okay, I'm going to take the ultimate dead white guy novel and see what I can do with that. Because if you can do something with that, you can, you know, if you can embed Mātauranga Māori into that, you can embed it into anything. So the first thing, after much thought and looking at these, and like I have this with me all the time. So this is my old version. I've got a new version out now, but I sit down there and I think, yeah, okay. All right, so the kaupapa of the island, yeah, rightio, you know, and then you start getting thinking. The most obvious one is Piggy. He's the only one that can continues to see reason, stay sane. Why? You think about it. He's always talking about England. In England we do this. My auntie does that. Da la la. Like he is grounded in his tūranga waiwai, and because he's so grounded. And I guess you could say, counting as his auntie, you know, that whakapapa and that way of doing things and what that sense of right is, that comes from that grounding. Now, that is why he stays sane. He sees reason. He stays calm. And have you ever thought of it like that before? Now, look at Jack. You know, at the end of the day, he is a bloody good leader, right? He's evil, but he's a good leader. And how does he do this? He feeds the people, manaakitanga, because that's what it's all about. That's how he gathers his boys around him. You know, he's got manaakitanga going. They go hunting, so there's your whanaungatanga there, that shared experience. They're painting their faces together, they're doing their chanting. You know, it's that kotahitanga, that unity that's going there. So Jack, he knows this. He knows that if he feeds them, he's sorted. I don't know why. I taught that novel for years. I never thought of it like that. And so he's got this mana, right? He's got te ihi going. So that's sort of striving for the best that he can be. Okay, so it's evil, but he's talented. He's just putting it in the wrong direction. So te ihi is about that, you know, that they're working towards excellence, and he's got that in spades. But then what he doesn't do is he doesn't use it for a collective good. So there's three things that you have here. Look at my old one, te ihi, and so that's that physical and spiritual connectedness to yourself, that you're pursuing excellence the whole time. And then te wehi down here, so that's that ability to gather people around you and have that power over people. So that can be a bad thing, also a good thing, right, when it's real good mana. And then the last one is te wana. So if you've got that third one, that's where everybody is putting the ihi in together, and it's collective, and you've got that everyone is driving forward together, and that's the ultimate goal. So in your faculty, if everyone has te ihi, te wehi, and then you will have te wana, you will have an amazing faculty going. But Jack, he didn't get that te wana going because, well, I like to see it as a good thing, you know, and I just don't think he was thinking about the collective there. He was all about mana motuhake, that self-determination, that being in control over his destiny, but he didn't care about anyone else. But so it's just like, it opens up all these possibilities for discussion. Okay, Othello, look at him. He was completely disconnected from his tūranga waiwai. He had mana, but only in terms of battle, you know, on the battleground, on the sea. He didn't have it in his community, and so he had the skills to carry him through, but when it came down to it and thriving in this community, he did not belong, okay, because he had completely lost who he was. So cool. Iago, he was just like Jack, right? He found where he could thrive. And then it starts making you wonder, so if Jack from Lord of the Flies and Iago from Othello didn't have that goodness in them, and you never hear anything about their tūranga waiwai, where they're from, they never mention it, they're just operating in a silo, is that the word I'm looking for? No wonder they went bad. You know, like, who are they? And you never really find out, do you? It's just amazing, because they're not whole people, because they don't have that grounding. There's so much missing. They're almost two-dimensional characters. Anyway, there you go. What else have I got here? Tahi Tibbles, everyone was there. Iho, Pānia Newton, te ihi, te wehi, te wana. She gathered everyone around, ko tahitanga, that working together through the experience of being in this place. I mātou, our author Tahi Tibble, right? She experienced that whanaungatanga, and she grew through that experience of working together, that shared experience. You know, the people who were there, sitting in and going through everything together, finding out who they were, realizing what was important. That is a huge shared experience, and from that she grew, and she had the power. She realized that her power was in her pen. So cool. So this gives Pākehā like me another way of explaining things, as well as another way of looking at things, and better avenues for critical thinking. Shooting stars, I've talked about that one before as well. So there's three settings there: the forest, the street, and Egan's dad's house. And the irony is that if you look at all those three settings and what Egan gains in each of those three settings in terms of these things here, you find that in the forest he gets the most. And of course, as you know, that's how Maslow's Mātauranga mashup was born, because actually Egan had all of these key things. Aroha, there was kaupapa there between his mum and himself. You know, they knew how things were going to go. That was his tūranga waiwai, there's manaakitanga there. He had everything there, whānau, everything. And so he was able to rise up te ihi te wehi te wana. They had it going on there in the forest. And then going on to mana motuhaki, so he had control over who he was, at least to a large extent. You know, they had control, he and his mum, of that place and how they were going to live their lives. As soon as he got out into the street, at least there was, you know, he had his mates there, that the street kids, they worked together, they were their own little whānau, but he had nothing at his dad's. So we, you know, my students and I looked at, oh, actually, obviously he was killed at his dad's house, spoiler alert, but he really had these important groundings in the forest. So that was cool. And look at Legacy, Whiti Hiriaka's novel, Legacy. The men in that Māori battalion, I can't remember what they said, they joined up to be seen as citizens or something. They wanted to be, you know, to be seen in their community, to be valued in their community back in Aotearoa, and of course they weren't. And that's sort of similar to Othello, right? He was seen as something when he was on the battleground, but in his own community, in his own country. Well, he didn't have his own country. He didn't feel pride. He didn't feel he had that mana. So I was thinking, okay, so what do those men in Legacy, when they're on the battleground, have apart from each other? And then what do they have when they got home? And this is, you know, facts. And you can look through this and you go, oh, no, they didn't have that, they didn't have that, they didn't have that. And no wonder these people were lost, right? So a fantastic way of looking at things. So you've got all of these concepts, as I say, you can apply them to characters, to settings, to characters and settings together. Fantastic for your 1.2 aspects of text. Okay, great way for students to help work through things. And remember your te ihi, te wehi, te wana. So that's that absolute completeness, that where you want to be, where everyone's working together. They are all really good concepts to look at. So I will sign off. Hope that is helpful. I'll put a link to my new resource for some of these things down below, and also a link to that Maslow's video that I did earlier. Enjoy!